At Simple Bookkeeping, we definitely like to make your life easy, and we want you to get the best that you can from your business. So we've included, for a limited time only, these bonus invoice templates. So you'll see here that we've already marked it as perfect layout for you just to click print once you've filled in your details. At the top, you'll see your company name. We've put accounts department. You might not be a large company, but it's always good to appear as if you are. And address details. Now you can't click on these, there's a reason for that. You go back to your setup page, and it's actually pulling this information in from here. So say we change that to 123 High Street and hit return. Oh, there we go. So when you go back to the invoice, here you'll see that it's updated itself. So that's where it's pulling that information from, and you can always change it in your setup page if you need to. Now here you'll see that the invoice to box, you just click on the first line here, and that's actually the customer that you want to invoice. So again, it's really easy. Click the drop down box, click the customer, so we'll pick the first one for example, and when you do that, it'll pull through their details from the customer sheet. So don't forget, you go back here and you can change your details to the relevant details that you may have to invoice. So perhaps if it's a company that's got two addresses, one for invoicing and one for contact, you may wish to add them again, and you might want to put accounts department or something to make it a bit easier. So back to your invoice. So that's all filled in there. And don't worry, if you don't need to put in any details like their addresses or whatever, you might just want to put in a company name, or for yourself you might just want to put in an address. You just go back to the setup page or the customers page and delete out the information from the boxes. They'll then become blank. So this invoice is specifically for VAT registered businesses. Don't forget, that is critical. You do not issue a VAT invoice unless you're actually VAT registered. If you're not VAT registered, it's illegal for you to do that. So here you'll see the VAT box. Again, it's pulling through your VAT number from the setup sheet. There's nothing for you to do there. You want to make sure that you put an invoice date on it. That can be today's date or whichever date that you're actually issuing the invoice. Invoice number, again, as I said, with money in and money out, it's always good to make sure that you've got an invoice number on your invoices. Helps you keep track of things, and for your customers or suppliers. So just fill it in. It's up to you how you want to number your invoices. And payment terms, it's always good for the customer to know how many days they've got to pay it. It might be immediate payment, so you can just type over, you can say immediate. You don't need to put in a number of days. Occasionally it might be a purchase order, so if a customer's asked you for a quote first, then this could be the quote number in there or whatever reference. There might not be nothing, so just delete that, and that's you. Now further down the invoice you'll see there's a grey bar here. It's description, quantity, amount, VAT rate, VAT and net amount. So again, each line represents its own transaction or own sale or own item. So click on the first line, you can basically type over this. So let's say it's for consultancy fees, but this can be for whatever, depending on your business. So quantity is just one, or it depends. Maybe you charge per hour, so let's say it's 3 hours and you charge £60 per hour. You are VAT registered, so of course you click there and you click standard because it's not the new VAT rate yet, so we're using the standard rate. The VAT amount will automatically update itself, and so will the net amount. You'll see here there's nothing, you can't click on there. When you can't click, it's because you don't need to. We want to make this as easy as possible for you, so you can't mess this up in any way, so don't worry about filling it in. If you get confused about which box you can click in, I always like to make it a bit easier. Click into one of the boxes that you've just filled in and hit tab, and it will tab to the next line that you can fill in. Tab along and so on. Now say that's all you've got to fill in your invoice. If you scroll down, you'll see at the bottom the VAT is actually split up, which is useful for the customer if they're VAT registered, and might be useful for you. And then here you'll be able to see the totals broken down, so the net amount of the invoice, the VAT amount and the grand total. Here you'll notice at the bottom is your contact details, such as your telephone number, email and fax, Again, these are pulling them through from here, from the setup page, so you can change them if you need to. So that's you got your first invoice, and you can print it off, issue it to your client. This is a professional invoice, so you don't need to worry about that. We've not put any horrible watermarks on it or anything like that. Just fill it in and you can issue it and you're ready to go. Don't forget, as soon as you've done this invoice, to go back to your money in sheet flow and record the details. So take that invoice number and basically, just as the first line, fill it in with all the details that's necessary to keep yourself right and to also keep on top of when payments are due. So that's you. Filled in your first invoice.